Hi everybody, good morning. It's Friday morning here in Israel, and I'd like to begin the second lesson on Perkay Avot, the ethics of our Father. Last week we discussed, first of all, the custom of, at this time of year in the summertime, approaching the holiday of Shabbat, of receiving the Torah. We have a custom of saying Perkay Avot in the synagogue. People gather together and everyone reads a Mishnah of the Perkay Avot. And the Gaonim we mentioned the reason of the Gaonim who lived in the 800s, 900s. The custom of why Mincha time was done, and we spoke about the fact that Moshe Rabbeinu, as well as Joseph and David, King David, passed away at that time. And this is a reason for almost a mourning period on the Sabbath, towards the end of the day. Although on the Sabbath we never mourn, it's like a very happy day for the Jewish people. But at that time, it's a time of reflection about our great prophet, our great forefathers. And therefore, by sitting around and reading the Perkay Avot, it's sort of a change of the way we normally study Torah. Normally we study Torah by getting very, very involved in the deep meaning behind things. But here we basically read, going from one person to the next, and everyone reads a chapter, a particular Mishnah. And this again is because that when a person is mourning, he's not allowed to study Torah in an in-depth fashion, because that brings us tremendous happiness. But in a basic fashion of reading, and that was a custom again why were developed according to the Gaonim during the Mincha service on Shabbat. But there are other reasons as well that I mentioned later on of why we say Perkay Avot on Shabbat. We know most people are not Torah scholars, and most people are working people. On Shabbat, it's a time, wow, we all get together, we sit down in the shul, and to sit and read some Torah and study something is a great opportunity for every Jew, the simplest Jews, just to learn and read and try to absorb some holiness of the Sabbath through reading the Perkay Avot. This time is a very special time now, and since we are approaching the holiday of Shavuot, it was not only a custom on the Shabbat, but they made it at this time of year, because this is a time of year where we are getting ready to receive Torah. Every day we're getting closer and closer, we're rising another level on the ladder till we finally reach the Mount Sinai and purifying ourselves. And therefore it is a time where everyone must work on themselves and get ready for that wonderful, wonderful, great moment of receiving Torah on our holiday of Shavuot. And those are the simple reasons behind this custom. But let's now get more involved in the text itself of Perkay Avot. It opens up with a statement, Moshe kibel Torah Sinai. Moses received the Torah on Sinai. We know that this is a fundamental principle of Judaism, that the Torah on Sinai is that actual event on Sinai. Moshe Rabbeinu received the Torah, right? But what does it mean, Moshe received Torah on Sinai? And we know we're familiar with the written books, the 5 books of Moses, the prophets. There's a lot of Torah. But we learn out that basically Moshe Rabbeinu received not only the written law, but the oral law. And this is one of the most fundamental principles of Judaism, that there is no written law without the oral law. Everything in the written law is based upon our oral traditions. And Perkay Avot, the ethics of our forefathers, is no less of a oral law than the regular basic laws of the Torah, of the 613 commandments. One of the famous Jewish commentators, called Rabbi Avot Bar Tanura, and he writes on the Mishnah. He lived in the 1400s. He was from Italy, and he made his way from Italy to Jerusalem eventually. That's where he's buried, in the valley of Kidron, the Kidron Valley. And he said, yes, a very important question. He goes, we know the entire Torah, of course, was given on Sinai. It's a very fundamental principle in Judaism, together with all the oral law. But why over here in this book of the ethics of our forefathers does the great Prince Judah, Rabbi Nasi, was the one who coordinated the Mishnah, why does he bring this down here over here, that Moses received Torah on Sinai? And he gives a beautiful explanation by saying that people can feel ethics is something that's very general. I mean, the entire world is involved in ethics. Many non-Jews in the world have written books on ethics. What makes it so special? The ethics of the Mishnah, the oral code. And his answer is that, we have to realize that ethics itself is from God. Because when a person decides on his own human rationality what ethics is, what the meaning of ethics is, unfortunately he can go very far from the actual true meaning of ethics. Let me give an example. We're all familiar with unfortunately, let's go back to Sodom and Gomorrah, what happened over there. They had an entire society that built their ethics on saying you're not allowed to give to the poor, you're not allowed to invite someone into your house, everyone has to live for themselves. This was a society that was built on corruption, but they wrote in their books of law that anyone who would invite a poor person into their home would be punished. So they created a whole other system of ethics, of immorality. Same way, look at Nazi Germany. Going back over 60 years ago, not too far away, the Nazis basically said that anyone who was different from them, it is a commandment to kill them and murder them and destroy them. This is the danger, the tremendous danger we have of when human beings decide what something ethical is all about. And the point is here, the Torah says that our ethics itself, being a good people, this comes from God. And there's a defined way of behavior that we have to study. And those are the boundaries. Of course, a person can add and always add wonderful things to do, and we respect every great work that someone has written, Jew or non-Jew alike. But there's a borderline. There's a border. What are those borders of ethics? And God defines those borders. And we have to receive that from God Himself. And that's the beauty of the oral law, that every word, every ethical behavior really stems from Moses. I heard this at the Mount Sinai when he went up and received the beautiful Torah. Well, this has been another great experience to sit here and Erev Shabbat and Itamar Israel and be able to say some few words of Torah, and I hope to see you again next week. Shabbat Shalom.